What's going on social media? I am in North Miami Beach today, and I'm standing in the shade of a beautiful palm tree because of how bright and sunny it is down here in South Florida. Now, before I tell you about the property that I'm standing in front of, I wanted to first tell you about the city of North Miami Beach because it's got a really cool history to it. So in 1881, Captain William Fulford of what became the Coast Guard was sailing up and down the east coast of Florida, and he came upon what we now know as the Oleta River. He was entranced by the calmness and the serenity of the river, especially compared to the rough waters of the Atlantic. And so a few years later, in 1897, he applied through the Federal Homestead Act and was granted 160 acres of land by President Grover Cleveland. A few years later, in 1901, he was decommissioned due to his declining health, and he decided to homestead his property here, creating the community named after himself, Fulford. He served as the postmaster at that time. Now, as his health continued to decline, in 1913, he did sell his homestead to two developers by the name of Laugh Allen and Joshua Reynolds. Mr. Allen was a newspaper mogul and Mr. Reynolds was a banker. And they acquired in total, including Mr. Fulford's property, a total of 557 acres around, where they decided to create a master plan city. They wanted to create the perfect city, and they named it Fulford by the Sea. Now, as the Florida land boom really started to take off in the early 1920s, these two developers, Allen and Reynolds, sold to another set of developers, Merle Tebbetts and Edgar Lynn. It was said that when it came to selling Florida, Tebbetts and the other salespeople for Fulford by the Sea took a backseat to nobody. They ferried prospective buyers by small yacht from downtown Miami to the development and opened sales offices near those of Carl Fisher, George Merrick, and other major developers of the era. They undertook the development of large parts of infrastructure, including a water plant, a radio station, a community center, and even a power plant that supplied electricity to the early residents for a couple of hours in the evening. One of the more lasting monuments is this beautiful fountain, which marked the entrance to the subdivision. Tebbetts would present the fountain to prospective buyers as an example of the character of the development that they proposed, and included language to investors and homeowners alike. Development work of such high character can only be carried out by an organization preeminently filled by experience and high ideals to execute such masterpieces. But to you as a shrewd investor, it is but typical of the high grade of developments throughout the entire tract that spells large profits. You who have only casually watched the development work know now, as you never did before, that values double and treble again and again as construction work of quality rises above the ground. Today, your opportunity is here. Legal troubles, economic troubles, and environmental troubles would coalesce to bring an end to Tebbetts and Lynn's endeavor and to the South Florida land boom as a whole. With the property reverting back to Allen and Reynolds, the community would go on to incorporate and later rename to North Miami Beach. Although Tebbetts' mission was cut short, his presence remains right here at his private home. So the residence is actually a county-designated historic site, and it was built in 1920. It's got 4 bedrooms, 1 full bath, and a half bath, and it's built in the Mediterranean Revival style. This style typically had 2 stories, but this property actually has a 3rd floor, and you'll often see ornamentation used around the windows and the doorways. For this one, you'll see wrought iron grills, wood brackets, and these twisted columns between the windows. Instead of a front porch, they often had courtyards, patios, and balconies as well. So again, this is a really neat property, and it has a lot of significance to the early history of North Miami Beach. It's going to be an awesome restoration for whatever history enthusiast does get their hands on it, and I cannot wait to see what the final product is going to be. You guys stay safe, take care, bye-bye.